Dr. J. Smith back again, and I'm doing a third video on the coins, answering your questions. We're going to continue doing this. If we get good questions, we're going to try to answer them. I'm going to try to make sure that I keep up with them. And an anonymous person sent this question, and it was sent to Hatun Tash, who sent it on to me. And it refers to the crescent and half moon that you see on these coins of Mu'awiya. Here, let me just show you them again. There you can see the crescent moon and also the star, the crescent half moon and the star on either side and at the bottom. And the supposition is that this is proof that these were Muslims, because the Muslims today use the star and the crescent. And so that must have been proof. That would be another proof, they're saying, that these are early Islamic coins. Well, no, they're not. And also, the reason why is because this was these were used often by the Persians. In fact, if you look at the history of Persian coinage leading up into the Sassanid period, the earliest reference we have for a star and a crescent moon is from King Orodes II, who was Persian. He had coins in the 1st century BC that had the half crescent and the star on his coins. Let me give you an example of this coin. Look at this coin here. Here's a coin of Vardanes the First of Parthia, 40 to 45 AD, with the moon and the crescent. On the left, that's the front side, and then on the reverse side, you see them side by side. There you can see the star and the crescent, and that's the 1st century AD. He is a Persian, and this is a well-known Persian symbol. It's been used for centuries, from the 1st century BC. Including this one. Now take a look at this one. Here is the first reference for a Sassanid king, the Sassanid Empire. First Sassanid king who introduced the star and the crescent was named King Kavadh, and he ruled from 488 to 531. Take a look at that coin, and you will see the star and the crescent on either side and at the bottom below his image. So there is another example. In fact, the first example we have of the star and the crescent. And we're talking here about the 6th century. So this is a whole century before Mu'awiya also employed it. And so when Mu'awiya, and here you can see his coins, he has it on his coins, which suggests to me that he was still a Zoroastrian. Why? Because take a look at the back side of the coin, and you will see the fire altar, the Zoroastrian fire altar, which is another inclination, a religious symbol. And that's why it's important that you notice that this is not only a Sassanid coin, this is also a Zoroastrian coin. And so Mu'awiya possibly, more likely, was not Muslim, because there's nothing Islamic about that coin. There's nothing anywhere. There's no reference to the Shahada. There's no reference to Muhammad. There's no reference to the Quran. There's no Bismillah that we can see. The Bismillah that is introduced is Bismillah al-Malik. You can see that. Look at that coin. There's the Bismillah al-Malik. Which is not the Bismillah al-Rahman al-Rahim that we see in the very first chapter of the Quran, the Fatiha, the very first verse. So it's seeming a completely different coin. And people might say, well, isn't Allah? We said that already. Allah is the well-known name that was introduced by the Nabateans, and Allah was a name that was used by all the people in that area, including the Persians, including the Sassanids. They would use the name Ilaha, which is the same as Allah. Now, the question then needs to be asked, well, then when did it become an Islamic? When did the crescent moon and the star become an Islamic symbol? And the answer is very simple. By the Ottomans. It was the Ottomans that introduced it as their symbol, which has nothing to do with the Persians, has nothing to do with these coins. And look at the date they first introduced it. They introduced it in 1844. In 1844, that's the 19th century. So the idea of it being Islamic symbol, it wasn't really an Islamic symbol, it was an Ottoman symbol. So when did it become an Islamic symbol? Well, that happened in the last century, in the 20th century. It was countries in the last century, and here I'm going to show you some flags. Take a look at these different flags, and I'm going to show you the dates when they introduced the crescent onto their flags. So it became an Islamic symbol in the last 100 years. Only in the last 100 years. So be careful. I know a lot of you Muslims want to say that this must be proof that this was the earliest symbol. It was not. It was a political symbol for the Ottomans, and became a religious symbol for modern day Muslims since independence, since Muslims got their independence from the colonial powers. I hope that satisfies you. I hope that absolves this question. Please continue to bring your questions. We're going to do some more videos on this as we get questions. I'm going to try to answer them as best we can. Great. Okay, here in the library. This is Jay then. Over and out.